do we want real growth, or do we want someone to do what we want them to do? Like, do we want to be in charge? Do we want to know that our words are the things that got them up, or whatever, like our self-congratulations? And I was like, I want him to grow. Like, I want him to know that, because there'll be times that he's in this depression that I'm not around. So if he could do it in the house where I'm bringing him food, like, what a great way to find that compassion for yourself in this space.
Welcome to Normalize the Conversation by Inspiring My Generation. I'm your host, Francesca. Today, I'm joined by Dahn Ballard, actress, writer, and life coach, who brings a grounded, compassionate perspective on balance, identity, and living a joy-filled life. In this episode, we talk about family dynamics, letting go, and what it means to love people without trying to manage their lives. From motherhood to sibling relationships and grief to rest and trust and releasing control, this conversation explores how peace is created when we allow others and ourselves to grow in our own way. So take a deep breath and settle in. This conversation may just shift how you show up in the relationships that matter most. Dahn, thank you so much for joining me today. I am super excited for our conversation. Before we begin, I want to check in. How are you really?
I have had a busy, my family is growing morning. So it's like I have a senior in high school and I have a 20-year-old that just got their first job. And so sending them both out this morning in this, okay, this is the energy we're going into our day with. You know, the older one, it's like, you know, you're not looking to necessarily be loved and liked. You're there to have your first job. So be in the mind frame of being peaceful, bringing your light, but not needing a lot, because then you're allowing other people to dictate how you're going to feel about your day based on, did I make a friend, because of course it still is from kindergarten all the way to retirement. Do people like me? Do people like me? Am I liked? Am I loved? And I'm like, he's been looking for a job for a minute. So I reminded him how thankful he is that this is your first job and that you're not going into it needing to draw from it, but needing to give to it, because you're creating an income for yourself. And that is the gift that you're being given. So you make your light. You make your space. And, and he was like, thank you, Mom. Like, because he was talking about like all the first day jitters and trying to please. And I'm like, and you're there to learn and make sure that the people who are your administrators, those are the people who you're making sure you're connecting with. And your colleagues, they're going to come around. You're going to have time, so do that. And then the senior with all of his like extracurriculars and things he needed to do. So it was a busy morning. How are you doing? How are you really doing?
Wait, I love that. And you know what? I had quite a morning. I was woken up at 4 a.m. over a spreadsheet, which was very, very fun.
Oh my, 4.
No, I know. It was an emergency over the undo button, but it all worked out. And
obviously somebody not in your time
zone. No, my dad, love him so much, forgets that we are 3 hours apart. And
oh, bless him.
Yeah. And I made him a spreadsheet, being the nice daughter that I am. And he undid a formula and then panicked because he couldn't undo it, and the undo button we forgot existed. It's okay. It all worked out.
Button right there. Just right there. Little button.
We love our
parents.
Yeah. Go Dad. It all worked out though. But one thing, I love what you've said about preparing your son for like the job, right? School, it made me think of right now with my brother, something that I really struggle with our relationship is he's getting ready to enter like these next phases of life all the time, right? He's a few years younger than me. I
Okay.
want to, I'm 27, he's 23. We're three
Okay.
and a half years apart, and I want to protect him from everything. I have like this intense need to like protect my little brother, and I love him so much. And all the time, I feel like it comes out as like, don't do this, instead of like the encouraging pep talk that I want it to be. I'm like,
Right.
"What? Instead, you try it my way." And I love the way you approach it as like, it's not about people liking you, but just the way you said it.
Mm.
Like, how did you learn to approach it in such an encouraging?
Well, you know what? It's funny because I love, I think that it's needed, that nurture, that hovering, that protective energy. And then there's the flying into your real life, right? And so in my watching that, and it was, I forget who's, I don't know if it was Anne Lamott. It was an author who talked about from the moment they're born until they pass, it is a walking away from you. Like it's a walk that they have to have their autonomy, right? And so when I raised my kids with this ideology called RIE, which is Research Infant Educating, and their model is that they wanted us to think of the children as being these very tiny old people that were learning the language, and but they understood a lot of everything, that's hand movements and all the things, but we needed to respect their autonomy even as babies, so that we weren't picking them up and taking them places and doing all these things and lifting them out of space. And and so it was a constant respect of the fact that they have their own desires, they have their own autonomy, they have their own walk, they have their own things that they're going to have to discover. And it is not my job to dictate how their own inclinations internally happen. It is my job only to create a safe environment for them to be able to always come back to me, to always know that I did the best I could. Because they didn't even believe in like, baby proofing your house, like basically creating a, bubble wrap around them. So it was not, I was able to, because it's only, you do it only the first 3 years that you have these play dates that are about it, that you have these classes that are about this ideology. And it enabled me to kind of start to understand, even from the beginning, that I don't own my kid. Like, I don't own this kid, right? This is their own journey, and to allow them to have it. And so when we have our ideas of what is not safe, meaning that it's not a real thing, like, getting your hand burnt because you put an open fire on the ground, like that's just a real thing. But being hurt by feelings about being left out, about not being included, about not making friends, but these are all like things that we all are going to bump up against in our lives. The earlier we do it and give them the idea that they are strong enough, equipped enough, capable enough to handle whatever their lives, their internal yearnings are leading them towards, is like, that's the best we can do. Like, I can do is that you got this. Like, that is like, other than talking them out of all their things and trying to protect them against all these things, is that, in this house, and I told him, I said, you draw from the well. I told Zai this morning, I'm like, you draw from the well of the people who already love you. And then what you're doing out in the world is being a light and being stable enough to not need to pull from everybody, meaning they get to be themselves. They get to be, unstable or crazy today or weird or not talkative or whatever it is, because you already came already lit up. Like, so you can just be yourself. They can be themselves because they don't need to perform for you. You don't need to perform for them. And you draw from the people who are already pouring into you. So you got the love here, so you don't need to look for it all outside. Like, you're good. And you've been given this great job. So you're here to like replenish your bank account so that you can go do the things you want to do. So, like, don't let them steal that joy of that victory from you by being there in a space of like needing to pull. You're good. And so he was like, Mom, I needed to hear that because I couldn't tell who's going to be, because we always want to know who's going to be our friend. Are we going to be okay? You're going to be okay. So even with your brother, all of these are internal longings that he has to test out his life, figure out, and you don't want to take away that gem of life moment for him, you know? And I am like, yeah, so I'm sorry. I'm just talking on.
No, I love it because I I guess with my own life, right? I don't want people to tell me what to do or how to do it. I want to discover it for myself. And yet I feel so much like desire to sit there and want to figure it out for not everybody else, but for certain other people, right? The people that I really care about. And for me, one of those people is my little brother.
Yeah.
And it definitely comes from a place of having divorced parents who went through a very, very rocky divorce and they didn't have the emotional capacity to really be there at that time where we needed them. So I stepped in a lot of ways and gave that support for me and him. So now as an adult, I'm still like trying to be unintentionally, right? I don't,
Parenting him.
yes. And it's not my job. And my parents love to tell me it all the time. And I'm like, but someone has to. I got to work on that. I know. So it's, but you're right. Like he has to figure it out for himself and get to experience life and explore what he wants and doesn't want. And the truth is, like, I don't really know what he wants. I'm not him. I have no idea what it's like to be him and to experience the world through his eyes. And for me to sit here and tell him what I think he should do and how he should do it, I really am doing a disservice to him. As like you're talking, I'm like, maybe I should just let him be him.
Yeah, let him. And I was, it's kind of like we were uh thinking about Mel Robbins and how she has that book Let Them and you had you heard of it before?
Yes, I love it.
Yeah. And it's like, I love the idea that, like, I can have some say if I let them and know that I have given them their autonomy. And I feel it's ripped from me if I feel like I'm missing out on telling them what I want to tell them, right? But if I just allow, which is let them, like, allow them to do it how they're doing it, no matter what, that's what they're getting ready to do. So my allowing or not allowing is on my part of how I narrate what's happening. So it's either ripped from me and I'm so angry and I'm so mad and I'm so judgmental, right, of whatever their decision is. And they're protecting themselves from me. They're protecting themselves. They're covering their ears, covering their eyes, like, I can't hear you because they feel like how they're doing it, who they're being, all of that is under attack from your point of view of protecting them because you know better. And they're here to try to figure out like their own autonomy. Like, what do I know? I know something, I know how I feel in my heart. I know, so we want them. And that is when I say them, I mean people and people we love, especially to be able to have their own strength about them, have their own like intuition speak to them, have them find out that that wasn't the right way to go, but you only know it because you started on that journey and all of a sudden life's pulled up a whole bunch of barriers or problems or whatever, and you either tunneled through it and fought your way through it, or you're like, no, not the path for me. And then they know it for themselves, but it's not us living their life for them. Basically, if we're here to just tell them what to do, I mean, like, they just got to check in with me. So what's going to happen to me today? I know you know, and we don't know. Like, it's like our best guesstimate from where we came from what happened to us, from our experience. But it's like they're a whole new being, a whole new creature, a whole new like set of like, because this one kid that I'm talking about, I'm thinking he needs now. I have been on a mum's the word person since because he had a very emotional breakdown last year. And now he can't hear from me all the criticisms and my momisms, right? All my high minded, big thinking self. And I use that idea as like as if I'm doing their math. So think of it like with your brother. You're doing their math. So you're doing their homework for them, the life thing. Like they're never going to be able to pass math because we did it for them, right? Which is us saying, I know better. I know better. I know what you should be doing. I know you should be thinking. I know the formulas. I know how you should do it. And it's like, no matter what, at one point, they're going to have to add up all the things for themselves. And they're not going to be able to do it if they were to even be listening to us all the time, right? So, right now, with my son, I'm the one who's like, I don't say anything. His dad, if anybody, because he just needed, from his mental health standpoint, not to have everybody like in his ear. Like, I think you should do this and da 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 da. So I became the one who was like, and my husband, if anything's to be told to him, but that means I'm not talking about cleaning up your room. I'm not talking about how many ways have you like applied for a job. And I was just, girl, I had all the things, but his walk is different. Like things come to him. And I'm one of the reasons that he had his emotional breakdown because he needed to have a break from not going straight to college. Internally, he knew that was not for him. I'm thinking, oh, you're going to be lost and you can go to art college and it'll be okay. And I'm infringing very unRye like on the boundary of his autonomy, of his own knowingness for himself. And that's the part that you never want to steal from people is for them to know the intuition of just go this way, don't go that way. That's a friend, that's not a friend. All those things you get because you try it. You get because you taste it. You get because, and then your intuition, the RIE method is that you leave that child, that individual's intuition intact so that they have it to draw on when you're not around to tell them what to do.
I love that you brought in the math example, first of all, because all the way until my brother's very last college assignment, I did it. Literally.
You cannot be serious. Oh my God.
Very last college paper, submitted, done, me. I always joke. I was like, that's my degree. Thank you very much.
It is. So you're also feeling so much heartbreak over all that you've poured into your quote unquote child, right? Your younger brother.
Us enmeshed. It's me. I need to separate. He needs the independence, and he's doing a very great job at setting that boundary and separating himself and giving himself the independence and figuring out who he is. And I am not doing a great job at letting go and letting him, is what I'm learning. And one thing you said that was so powerful is when you said the word judgment, because it's not judgment coming from a place of a lot of times we think of judgment as harsh and criticism in a way that's intentionally mean. Sometimes judgment can be from a place of love, right? And we want to just help. And we don't always realize that that's still us passing judgment in a way of not trusting you, right? Not trusting your intuition, not trusting that you can do it too, and that you know what's right for you, not allowing you to dip into what you said, you're knowing. And I'm sure my brother is so much smarter for himself than I give himself credit for. He I bet he really can figure out what he wants and go after it and get everything he deserves and wants out of life. Whether or not I tell him what that is, right? It's probably not what I think it is anyways, because we're very different people. We are polar opposite. That's why our college assignments were done very differently, right? The way we approached it very differently. We're very different people. We want very different things out of life. We go about it in very different ways. And that's okay. And for me to sit there and tell him he needs to do it the way that I want him to do it is doing an injustice to him. Just hearing you say it, I'm like, wow. I need to let go out of love. And that's, you know, fear, but it's okay. Like that's on the other side. Fear is love, right? I just let him be him and know that that's okay. Like I prepared him for this moment.
Like you poured into him all this love for him to believe in himself, I'm sure, right? To him to trust himself, believe in himself, believe in his capability. And so then he's now getting a chance to do it. And we're like, wait a minute, I'm going to help tell you how to do that too. And you're like, no, this is believing in me. Believing in me says that, I'm ready to do this big step. I'm ready to take on this new responsibility. And the thing of it is, when we let go of our judgment, we also don't underneath that go, I kind of hope they'll fail because this is what happens when you don't listen to me, when you don't, So you let go of it because you drop the idea that I do know what's best for you, right? Because even, our idea of what's best is what we've known. We're not getting it from the eternal ethers of like um, adventure or excitedly the unknown, which is where everything is created, right? Out of the unknown. So when you allow them without the judgment, you don't put any more pressure of I got to prove everybody right or because then that's when people hold on to things that are not good for them longer than they should if it does go awry because they're just so trying to prove everybody who didn't believe in them wrong that they hold on to things that are no longer right because even with my children I'm like I'm still a work in progress. If you choose a path that you realize down the road doesn't suit you, please know that you have the right to change your mind, that I'm not sitting in judgment, even if it wasn't what I thought was the best thing for you to do, right? Because I want you to be able to pivot. I want you to be able to not have this energy of like, I can't change my mind because everybody who thought I was doing the wrong thing will then, feast on my bones. And it's like, no, it's just life. It's life being life. I hope you'll be able to. And I think even during, the in this advocacy work I do, it's like people forget that they can change their mind. Like you can learn and you can go, I do better because I know something new and I don't have to keep on this road of whatever it was that I thought was a, a truth a bedrock of whatever I thought was the way life should be lived, whatever it is, that you can actually go, wow, I have evolved. I thought this was true for 30 years, and it's not anymore for me. And I can choose different. I can let people be themselves. I can, all kinds of things. It's an incredible ability as a human to be able to do that. And it's very challenging.
Yes, who you are and where you're going is not written in stone. The only thing that is the past, and we forget that. That is one of the most difficult lessons I think that I've learned, right? Or that I'm still trying to learn a lot of times.
Me too.
It,
Yeah.
it's, but when you learn that like things can change, that you have a choice, right? Like you can pivot. You have a lot more control than you realize. It really does open a lot of possibility, a lot of hope. It helps, at least for me, when it gets to those moments where, for me, I live with a lot of depression. And when
Mm,
that depression starts to come up again, it helps me reignite that spark within me. It helps me find a little bit of joy, a little bit of hope in the midst of despair when I'm able to see that I can pivot, I can make a change. It doesn't have to be that this is it forever, how I'm feeling right now. That
right.
what I'm doing, it feels like nothing's working in this moment. It feels like I'm hitting a dead end for months on end or years on end, whatever it is. I can make a change. It doesn't have to stay this way.
Right.
That has changed everything time and time again.
Mm, yeah. Oh my gosh. And it's like, I love that vulnerable space of, because it's like right now I'm going through grief because my sister passed away this summer. And I have been like when you just said about depression and it's like when you feel so like overcome with something that feels out of your control, like overcome with, like, I just feel like days that I'm just like, I can't think straight. Like, and I understand now that it is this grief that I can just let it be for whatever space that is. And then I can know that it will pass, and I think that not thinking it will pass is a part of, like, we need to feel our feelings. And then also, so it's not because I coach. And so it's like, I always let people know it's not about staying happy all the time. That's not the goal, is to be on this high. Because that's why, people take drugs, because they're just like, I'm supposed to be, this pinnacle of gaiety at all times. That is not to me the goal. The goal is to have your temperature, emotionally, mental temperature, to have a good baseline of hopefulness, of resiliency, of knowing that whatever I'm feeling right now will not always be this way, and be able to allow feelings to come and feelings to go. And so you can enjoy when things are really like gaiety, and understand that there will be a winter to that. And understand even in that winter that spring and summer is coming. It's like, it's just being able to ride the wave of it and having a good enough baseline of health mentally to know that I'm not going to always just want to lay in the bed and not want to do anything, or my brain is going to be a jumble. But while it's being a jumble, I just have compassion for myself. Like, it's a jumble right now. I can't think straight. I'm grieving my sister. Like, it's okay. And you're okay. And give yourself that. Because I think that our society is so like, get yourself back together and let's get out of there and let's go and da da da. And even like, yeah, it's like my husband he's been so pivotal for our son's healing after this mental health crisis that he'd had. And one of the biggest things that he was saying is that for a period of time, he's like, what if we were to have had in our lives a period of time where nobody required anything of us, where we could really just like heal, like big T traumas or small T traumas happened, and we were able to just rest, like without all of this yang culture of, get your brain right and get out there and get your, like, what are your goals and what are your things and what are you doing? He's like, just like check out in a way that is just rest, where you could just go, I can hear myself breathe. I can like I can quietly close my eyes. I can just be. And he's like, that's what Zai needs. So, and it's not just going to be for a week, and it's not going to be for a month. Like, we don't know what that period is, but we're going to give him that. And that was so hard for me. And I work with people to create, because I call it like a flow of yin energy balance, right? Just because we're on this yang, we're on this like goals and do and make it happen and da 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 da. And we're in this culture of like, adverse, make sure that we're ready for battle. And it's like, where is that? Slow down, breathe deep, remember who we are, check in, sleep, journal, peace out, reset. Where is that? And it's like, we call that spa days, like getting a facial, like it's going to give me all this peace I've been missing. Like, no, like you need extended periods of that. So even as I watched him just be in his bedroom, just under the covers, I was just like, he's doing big work. He's resting. And I mean it, I'm not saying it wasn't a battle, because depression has its, its voices, and it's, you know, and that's why not being an outside voice was very big. Like he's dealing with his inside voices. So all the best I can do is make hot meals and bring it to him and tell him he's doing a good job. And then I see him and I'm sorry it's hard. And I love you and you're loved. And like, here's your meal. And then his dad once a month would go in and be like, okay, let's clean your room. But he didn't have his mom going, all right, so you've been sleeping for a while. So why don't you, isn't it time to get up and let's get ourselves together? Because I can't deal with mess like that. So to me, in my mind, I'm going, dude, you're probably depressed because this room is a hot mess. Like you're probably depressed because you haven't made your goal list. You're probably, and it's like, you don't need none of that. You need just where nobody's judging you about how you're doing it. You need to sleep, sleep. You need to read, read. You need to scroll, scroll. Just nobody else adding their confusion, their mind clutter, their aspirational anxiety. Because there's so much of wanting to tell other people what they should do is your own anxiety about what you don't want to see happen because it happened to you or you felt it and you didn't like it. And so now you're trying to protect the world. You will never figure this. And you're like, we all get a chance. And I have to control my own anxiety. So I cleaned up everything around and did not cross the border of his room. And when I went in there, I was like, I do not see all this. And I brought more food and I took away all the old dishes and I did my part, which is, and my husband would tell me, he's like, you're doing such a good job. Because he knows I'm a talker. I will tell you, I'm here to help. Did you ask? No, I'm here to help you, whether you want that help or not. Wait, they will ask. And he has started to ask me, Mom, what do you think of this? Mom, da 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 da. And that's after 6 months of quiet. So you and your brother, there's so much hope for that, right? It's like he will ask when he's been given enough room to be like, you got this. I believe in you. And you do that by not infringing on their boundaries. You just go, I'm here as a wonderful witness to this. Enjoy your day. I want all of this to go exactly the way you see it in your mind's eye.
Yeah.
That's our work. And it's scary and hard.
The quiet piece is so hard. Wait, but I love that approach because, oh, with depression, there's so, wait, first I want to say I'm so sorry for your loss with your sister.
Oh, thank you.
I love the way you approach it with your son, just the space, the world, like you said, is such an obsession with getting over it, being happy and being productive. And for me, I know that my brain constantly, when I get into a depressive episode, is like, what's wrong with you? Get over this. Get up. Like, be happy. You should be so grateful. You have so many things. You have so many opportunities. Like, get up, do something about it. And there's so much pressure, like internally, and then everyone externally telling me to like be grateful, be happy, just think positive, like go for a run, just clean up, just do these things and you'll feel better. It does not help. I never have had someone just sit there and say like it's okay to rest and just give me space. And to see that your son has had that from you and your husband is incredible. And I just want to say like you both are amazing to have given him space because not a lot of people get that. And I can't imagine how much love and compassion he must have felt instead of judgment, right? That not having external judgment, teaching him not to have internal judgment, not have that internal shame for feeling the way he's feeling because you can't control it, right? I always say like, if I could make my brain not think this way and not feel this way, don't you think I would? Like if I could just not feel like I didn't want to be here, I would stop feeling that way. It's not fun to feel this way. I don't want to feel this way. Right. So if I could make it go away, I would, but I can't. So for other people to add that external judgment that increases my internal shame and my internal critic doesn't help. So I just so much like, I don't even have the words, but I love that that's the way you approached it because I can't even begin to imagine how much of a difference that has made and will make for years to come in the way that he sees his mental health and approaches his own mental health with compassion, right? And grace instead of judgment and self like hatred and deprecation, where so many people go down that route because that's what they're taught by everyone around them.
Yeah. And it's like, I have to give so much credit to my husband because it's like we all have moments where, like, oh, you need to rest. And then we're like, 8 hours later, you rested? You good, right? Okay. And also, this idea that comparative, that whole idea of comparing your fate to someone else's will then booster your gratitude so that you can get out of this moment, because he was very much making sure we understood it's like you can do that for however long you can, and then it just doesn't math for you because I'm feeling like crap, and I do understand there's worse off. There's people who don't have this, that, and the other, and I am grateful and thankful that I have a roof over my head and have, but it's like I'm still going through this such a abysmal low that I just right now I just need to have compassion for myself where I am, what's happening to me. And that has to be some self-preservation in there. And it's like where we don't do what is it called? Like, the pain Olympics, where, you're not allowed to have bad days and have depression because of all the giftedness or creativity or whatever it is that people see is so valuable in you that you should, the opportunities, whatever it is, it's like he really, I mean, he has taught me so much. Like, I, I have learned so much from quietude. I've learned so much for how much thinking yourself through it can't make, can't get through to all the places. So even as you're thinking, even with your brother, if you would just have this hard conversation with me, if you would just, and it's like, it's not the end all be all of how it's going to create the alchemy of change, of growing, right? So we want, and I guess it's like, I kept telling myself, as I had to be quiet for more days, I was like, do we want real growth or do we want someone to do what we want them to do? Like, do we want to be in charge? Do we want to know that our words are the things that got them up or whatever, like our self congratulations? And I was like, I want him to grow. Like, I want him to know that because there'll be times that he's in this depression that I'm not around. So if he could do it in the house where I'm bringing him food, like, what a great way to find that compassion for yourself in this space,
Yeah.
where you have a mom and dad that are looking out for you, that are, doing their best. But, and it's also like I'm supposed to grow. Like, it's not just about him. Even in depression, I just feel like the compassion that we can have for each other, the understanding that we're all interconnected, and that a lot of times we're all having low grade fevers of the thing that the person who's afflicted with the I can see you have this moment that's happening. A lot of us are having a low grade amount of that in our systems, like low grade depression, low grade meaning like, and I mean, of course, in alcohol, they're like functioning alcoholics, so functioning depressives, because they're not feeling good. They're not being able to have this inner light. But some people in our society, and I don't know, I mean, of course, I have so many, like, I don't know, ideas of what this could come from, but I feel like since I feel like we're all connected, I feel like some of us just take to our bed with it. Like it's the heaviness of society that we all are feeling. And some of us just are like, and it's usually our intuitives, our empaths, people who are just like, I cannot move one step further with this insanity that's happening around us. And I have to stop in my tracks and just bow to it for a minute. Like I can't go a step further. And the rest of us that are trudging past them, there's so many levels of like, I'm like right now, like I really wish I see his strength in being able to just take to his bed. And I know, of course, it came over him and there was nothing he could do. But I also just saw after that really deep, dark place was over, where he's just like, I don't feel like getting up. And it wasn't deep depression anymore. It was just like, and I'm like, what a trust fall into your life. You're just like, I don't, like, I know there's people out there that'll bring me food. Like, what an awesome way to feel. Like, and right now, girl, if you try to get me to stay in bed for a whole day, the anxiety
Yeah.
of what's going to happen, who's going to, and what's going to happen, and it's like nothing, but you would actually not be exhausted. You could probably, and my husband will always say, he's like, you can rest, like, but the compassion that we have for ourselves until something fells us, like takes us down, like,
Mhm.
because I'm sure, do you feel it coming on? And if you were to just do the things leading up to it, you might be able to, or what does it feel like to you?
Yeah, no, I know people always like just rest, just take some time to rest. And I can't. So much anxiety. There's so much pressure, I feel like, to keep going all the time. And what if I take this time to rest and then I miss out on something else that I should have been doing? Right? Or it's like, what if I take this time to rest and I missed this opportunity or someone needed me and I wasn't there and I didn't show up? Right? It's like all these what ifs in my head all the time. Or I haven't earned the right to rest yet. That's a big one for me. I haven't earned it yet. I need to keep going. And it's all the time so much. I have this one friend who every night she's like, well, what are you going to do tonight? And I like give her a list of the different things I could be working on. She's like, well, what if you watch this movie instead? Or what if you watch this show? And I'm like, that doesn't sound on brand now, does it? It's not going to happen. But every night she tries. And I think it's the sweetest thing in the world. And I'll say in the past 3 weeks, I want to say, since Halloween. So around Halloween, it was the 30th. So the night before, I watched the movie. The one time I did it, I listened. She got me. It happened. She was very excited about it. But so it happened because she kept going and kept trying. And maybe it'll happen again. Who knows? But it's so hard because in my brain, there's all these reasons why you shouldn't. And if I could only trust that, it would be okay. It would be okay to rest, that the world will still exist tomorrow, that all these things will still exist for me tomorrow. What a difference. I wouldn't burn out maybe and then crash and then feel guilty the next day. Who knows?
Who knows? And it's like it's your right to have rest. You know what I mean? Like we think we have to earn rest. And it's like there's this woman, I need to make sure I remember her name for next time, but she has this program called the Nap Ministry. Um, and she's an amazing Black woman who I was like gonna try to look her up, but she has a Nap Ministry. And her whole thing is that we have capitalism is has created this system of self slavery. Like we work, and we need to be productive, and we need to take advantage of opportunities, and we need to be always doing something. And it is taking our humanity from us because humans, it's built into our DNA. We need rest, right? So we will figure out how many hours and applaud ourselves for how little sleep we can get and still function, how much we can still bear, how much stress, how much, and live for this week of vacation. And she's like, all of this, is a form of a mental slavery. It's like a construct of because she's like, that's what they did during slave times. It's like they would make an understanding of how hard can we work them? How much can we get from you? Like, how much product of your life blood can create how much cotton until they fall. Okay. So it's on like I can work them 18 hours. I can't work them 18 and a half. Okay. But they will drive you till the end. So then now capitalism comes around and now we drive ourselves to the end for this dollar, this again, the product. And it's like, where's the humanity? Where's the humanity in both systems? Where's the humanity that you give yourself that you say, I deserve to rest because I'm human and humans are, the plants rest, there's winter. The whole system of being in this ecology of life, it rests. Like it's a part of its DNA and we are part of the planet and we need that. And therefore, when we don't give it to ourselves, we are literally task mastering ourselves for this outcome that is supposedly more important than our humaning, right? This outcome of productivity. And whether you're looking at a crop of cotton that you want all these people to do, or you're looking at your own self and going, what did you produce? What's your crop? What did you do? And if you don't have it, you don't deserve, you can't just go, just because I am, just because I'm here, I'm deserving of time off. Just because I'm here, I'm deserving to just Walt Whitman my day and look at the trees. And that there's worthiness in it, like that there is actual, like a wealth of things that I can't even express how much goodness will be wrought by my laying in the bed, my watching the movie, which is somebody else's art, my going to the museum, my sitting down, I don't know. I feel like we need to do a challenge to each other. Like, can we do it for 48 hours?
Do you think you can make it 48 hours?
It would be very hard.
Should we start with 24? You went so far with 48.
I know, right? I just
I,
like Olympic style. You're like,
I would have been like, for an hour after this, can we eat to rest? Was where I was going to go with that.
really?
Like 48 hours.
I want something that feels like mighty. Like I want something, how they say that the goal that is a great goal is one that makes you a little scared, but you're like, okay. But if it doesn't stretch you enough, it's not really. So I don't know. I feel like, okay, 24 hours. But what would that look like? Would I not make dinner? I don't even know what to do. I don't know. I don't know what rest is. What does rest mean?
No, never heard of rest before.
Because honestly, this is how
Up.
I know what do you do? Because what I end up doing is that the idea of not having to do anything makes me have more resource to do things. Like you can just have a free hour and then it's like 20 minutes in, I'm like, I feel better just knowing I don't have to. But if I want to, I can do this or that. But if I was made to where I cannot, that to me is the real like, no, now go for a walk. No, now just lay in the bed and just look at your hands. Now just journal.
Okay, I like the journaling. I can get
Oh, you are getting productive in the journal.
the
You're backloading your work. I am getting something done. Girl, this is how productive craziness I have been. I have been like, if I journal, I usually journal in a book, but I'm like, I need to journal on my computer so that I can turn it into into my book. I can make
Make a
a
blog
blog.
post. That's what I did last time. My last journal turned into a blog. Wait, we're great at resting. This is going so well. We've already just blogged.
When I tell you we are getting an F plus, we would not make it out of rest class. Fail. You have failed resting.
It's going so well. I can't believe you said 48 hours. I was like an hour, and you're like 48.
48.
Going so well. 24. We're doing this.
24.
24.
Honestly, though, I'm like, I'm so tired, though. I'm always like, what should I be doing? And then I'm like, let it go. Let it like give yourself like where are you going to carve out this thing? And then you can because it's really not trusting life. Okay, because all of this anxiety about doing and pressuring other people to do, this is scarcity mindset. Abundance is like, it's not, you see it on the leaves on the tree. It's like there's just more leaves. It's like as long as there's nourishment, like we give you more leaves. We're not going to go, you can only have 10 leaves per branch. That's not what abundance is. Abundance is like everywhere. It's like, and I'm like, so all of it is scarcity. So then all of us are a smaller version of the scarcity. So they've got the scarcity at the top, and then everybody under them is like, we don't have enough. We don't have enough. Because I mean, even like I I have given myself the challenge of knowing that there is enough. Like I just keep saying it, even with hours in the day, with moments with friends, with time with my sister. There was enough. There is enough. I am enough. Because everything we ingest is there's not enough. We gotta hurry up. We gotta do it all right now. We've got to work, 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 work. And all of that is scarcity. It's just not enough. So we got to work so hard. And we're not enough. So we got to work so hard to prove that we're somebody because we're not just somebody just because we're here. And I'm like, at this time of my life, still have that disease. I'm still raging with that fever. And I'm constantly working to ingest things that bring the temperature down. But because that is a part of this society that we've been a part of, this age, because it's not always been this way, but because this is what we have nurtured into this part of human history, it's very challenging to self medicate and soothe ourselves out of the cultural disease of this thing. Because we're all like contagion, giving it to each other again the moment you come outside your house or turn on your phone or whatever. We're literally like getting that hit of that disease again. We're like, I just was getting over that cold and now I'm in like struck by all of the virus again and all of the.
Yes, and every single thing around us externally is teaching us more of why we're not good enough and why we're not enough. Every piece of marketing, every time you go online, right? Every single ad campaign, everything is a reason why you're not good enough and why you need something else. It's so frustrating. Every single thing around us. And then it's like, well, embrace yourself and love yourself and be happy.
I know.
And it's like Thanksgiving, right? It's supposed to be a time where it's supposed to be about being grateful, but they've even made gratitude a toxic gratitude, right? Where it's like you can never be grateful enough. And you're doing gratitude wrong, right? Like everything they have taken holidays, right? Where it's supposed to be about, families coming together to celebrate. And now it's about who buys more and what you get and the value of your presence and what it looks like. Are your gifts wrapped aesthetically enough for that?
What about your table? What did you cook?
Yeah.
Did it look pretty? What are the serving dishes?
Yeah.
Did you have the right placemats?
Yeah, they have completely capitalism. It has taken away from all of the joy and brought it all into reasons why you're not measuring up to these expectations that change every single year. And you don't know what it's going to be until what's ever trending online that year.
And the only thing that we can do is have dominion over ourselves. So again, it's a let them, right? So let them do that. That's what they're doing, is if it's an entity that's like reaching in and grabbing hold of my attention and my this. So all I can do is save my own self. Like, because in saving myself, I them and catching and contagious the same way, right? It's like, if I decide to not buy into it for an hour, for 24 hours, for 48, like if I pull away, and I'm saying this because I need to hear it, right? So if I pull away and don't do the thing for an hour, for 48, for a week, for as my son did, like he took his space. If I do that, isn't that helping all of us? Like, isn't that like, aren't I a revolution? Like, if you don't buy into the thing that you need to be working at all times and you watch a movie and you sit down, you're like a revolution. You are a Francesca revolution. Like, I'm a Dawn revolution doing that. And it's adding more to the humanness of all of us humans than it is to the machine, to the capitalism, to the whatever it is. Because we all have to agree to that, just like we can not agree to that, right? We can opt out. It's opting out of the system, as if we are not all participating to make what is called the system up, right? So when we still participate in it, but we're mad about it, then we are just dog chasing tail.
Yeah.
We are not, we're not doing the thing, right? Well, if we're looking at the system like, yeah, nah, and then we're like not participating in it, then we're just one more person that pulls back from the fabric of how this thing is woven so tight. And then there's more people who can go, huh, if you can do it, and trust that life, the universe, whatever, will create the things that are for me to come to me no matter if I don't check my email for 24 hours. Trust fall into the universe. Maybe other people will be able to do that because we all kind of start opting out because we understand that we matter.
Yeah.
That starts with us.
Yes, it does.
Okay, I am doing 48 hours.
Wait, we're back to 48?
Okay, what should we do together? So
Um,
you can only do an hour together, or can you do 24?
I'll do 24. I'll try to commit to 48. Are you gonna do 48? You
No, I'll commit to 24 with you. And then my reach goal, you know how you always have the
reach goal? Okay. 24 and I'll reach goal 48 with you.
okay.
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 So here's to the start of the Dawn and Francesca Revolution 24-hour rest challenge. Dawn, you've been amazing. How can people learn more about you and connect with you?
Yes, so I am Dior Yummy Factor pretty much everywhere you look, but also just Dahn Ballard. You can just look up Dahn Ballard, but Dior Yummy Factor is me on IG. And I am also, yeah, like if you just look up that, you can email me there, you can DM me there. Instagram is where I kind of hub and live. Um, and I'm getting up my website right now because it'll just be Dahn Ballard because I've been rebranding. But if you find me just under Dahn Ballard, it'll direct you to any other places that you can see what's going on with me in my life. But yeah, this is a yin energy revolution. And it's an evolution because we're getting back to where we were before. So you were amazing. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for inviting me on here. Your conversation is so beautiful and needed. And so I really appreciate this transference of ideas today. It was really awesome. Yay.
24 hours of rest. What does that mean?
I know. Like we're gonna make a job out of
I don't
figuring
really
out
know
how
what
to
that
not have a
means.
job.
We're gonna come out of this with a whole like to-do list of what rest is.
What rest exactly?
Handbook,
We're
a
gonna have
handbook of rest.
Okay, so then, all right, so in between things that we've already committed to, we will just lay down and before we do anything, we'll just take a beat to just be like 5 minutes of just, do I even want to do that? You know what I mean? Because to me, if we put a stopgap, I think that will help us. So it's like before, because I think there's this inertia to keep doing things, but we just 5 minutes. Like I have coaching clients today, so I'll do work that's already laid out for me. But in between that, I'm not going to be trying to scrunch in all the other things. I'll just take 5 minutes, and
Yeah,
I'll be like, "What would you feel like doing next?"
I like that.
I would feel like sitting down and watching a movie in the middle of the day. Horror of horrors.
And like binge watch a TV show. Goodness.
I want to hear from you. Like, what happened? What did you do? What in your non-doingness did you do? 24 hours. Let's pinky. I love it. I'm excited.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I really enjoyed this.
Same here. I can't wait to like watch it. What in the world, the zaniness were we? And also all the learning. So here's to 24 hours. Here's to thankfulness. Here's to beingness. Mwah.
Thank you so much for listening to Normalize the Conversation. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. This podcast is an initiative of Inspiring My Generation, focusing on normalizing the conversation, bringing education and awareness to the forefront, and amplifying global voices to spark change and hope. Inspiring My Generation is a 501c3 nonprofit organization on a mission towards suicide prevention through awareness, conversation, education, and support. Connect with us on Instagram at Inspiring My Generation and visit our website inspiringmygeneration.org to learn more about our work and how you can make a difference.